Dinosaurs are not extinct. They just turned into birds and are just waiting for an excuse to show their coolness. To approach the cassowary, you need a shield, like a Roman legionary. But even then, the bird attacks with the fury of a berserker and jumps on the shield with all its weight. And if you annoy an ostrich, it can even get sadder. For this bird, the cheetah is just an annoying punk who needs to be taught a lesson. Contrary to popular belief, ostriches do not stick their heads in the sand during danger. They hit with a turn no worse than MMA champions. This bird seems clumsy due to the fact that its dense body is covered with voluminous feathers, but its curved thin neck and fleshy legs are not. So these predators allow themselves to be fooled by their appearance. In fact, the ostrich is a very clever creature. This feathered animal can run faster than 43 miles per hour, 70 kilometers per hour, which is comparable to the results of the best racehorses in the world. Legs that can give such a run-up are capable of breaking all the ribs of a predator with one blow. So if some inexperienced predator climbs into an attack against an ostrich, he will realize that he has messed with the wrong one and will forever remember this painful lesson. And herbivores should not be imposed. Otherwise, it will be like this young giraffe which the ostrich drove to hysterics. If he survives, of course. Fortunately, these birds are quite patient and are able to effectively warn intrusive people that getting to know each other is probably not worth it. With one warning blow, the ostrich breaks the whole fence. Can you imagine what would have happened if the bird had not been so patient? But these people were not so smart to move enough away. You shouldn't mess with an ostrich. So remember this lesson. Do not approach wild birds and do not try to pet them. If they are in a bad mood, there will be no warnings. Eagles don't like impudence very much. This huge bird was in a cage, so another brazen feathered decided that nothing was threatening him and he could steal someone else's food with impunity. But the thief didn't know who he was messing with. The eagle grabbed the impudent man with lightning speed just at the moment when he was trying to get food out of the cage. This cheeky bird will remember this lesson for a long time. But it's better not to mess with birds of prey, so it's with roosters and chickens. Didn't expect it, did you? So the eagles and hawks are not waiting for a serious rebuff. In vain, the roosters have all the trumps on the ground: powerful legs, maneuverability, experience. If the tactics of a quick raid did not work, the eagle can only fight back and spread its wings to appear larger. And the rooster will push again and again to show with his claws and beak. It's better not to touch his chickens. Even a medium-sized chicken can peck a falcon to protect its offspring. Roosters have several advantages. Firstly, it is a very combative character. They really like to fight. Secondly, it is the presence of spurs next to the claws. The eagle's claws are adapted to grab the victim on the fly. They can fight on the ground, but then it becomes too difficult to keep their balance. You have to grab and hold the prey to finish it off with your beak. But the claws of roosters are shorter, but there are sharp spurs, so these birds can attack and retreat, be maneuverable and agile while maintaining the ability to inflict serious damage. And finally, there may be several roosters and chickens. And if they attack a predator together, they will simply peck. Pelicans eat fish that they catch with their beak with a large leather pocket. You know it, we know it, even pigeons know this. And that lets them down. After all, these pigeons do not know who they have contacted, the bird-eating pelican. He pretends to be harmless and then attacks the pigeon and easily swallows it. And what? If a trout fits in the beak, then there's a place for a pigeon there. However, sometimes they fail to take advantage of the surprise effect. These capybaras do not know what a formidable and bloodthirsty predator is next to them, but they don't need to. The pelican can't swallow them anyway, although he tries so hard. And the capybara clearly doesn't care. Its equanimity is a threat that can only be envied. If you ever walk through the jungles of the northeast of Australia, then just why are you doing that? Run away! After all, even if you do not meet with poisonous spiders or dangerous reptiles, there is a risk that you will caught by him, the cassowary. This bird seems cute, but messing with it is a really big mistake. The cassowary looks exotic even against the backdrop of the other huge flightless birds. Unlike the dense ostrich, the cassowary is quite slender, has a bright head color, but its body is covered with black long feathers that more closely resemble the hair of a Rastafarian. At the same time, cassowaries are quite large. Adults can reach a height of 6 feet, 1 meters, with a weight of 130 pounds, up to 60 kilograms, which is a very impressive mass for a bird, because even huge golden eagles are almost 10 times lighter. At the same time, because of the thin silhouette stretched upwards, the cassowary seems to be a rather slender bird, especially since most individuals are still smaller than the specified sizes. But do not be deceived. This is not an intellectual, but a real bouncer from the feathered world. The most striking thing is the cassowary helmet, the horn seal on the bird's head. Have you seen the attack of an American football player who was trying to bring victory to his team in a matter of seconds before the end of the match? So, cassowaries use their helmet in about the same way. They powerfully ram everything they see in the forest and run straight ahead. This is their way of making their way through dense thickets. Other birds bypass obstacles, cassowaries ram them. But if you think that the cassowary reacts to danger in the same way, then you are mistaken, because this creature is a real master of martial arts among birds. He instantly assesses the enemy and goes on the attack. In battle, the cassowary uses not only his battering ram helmet and sharp beak, but also his legs. It is the extremities that are the main weapon of this bird. With a kick, she can break the back of a shepherd dog, and sharp claws are used as knives. The one who survived a fight with an angry cassowary is not even afraid of the claws of a leopard. After all, the feathered one deliberately marks his blades exactly in the face and eyes of the enemy. This bird does not fly, but its powerful legs give it the ability to jump like some ninja from Japanese anime. You see the cassowary, and then he turns into a shadow, soars up, and kicks with the force of a sledgehammer, tearing the target with his claws in a couple of lunges. And do you know what exactly can provoke a cassowary to fight? Yes, in general, nothing. He doesn't need a reason to rush into battle. One sideways glance in the direction of this bird, and you cannot make vacation plans. Even if you stay whole, you'll have to spend the money on a plastic surgeon. Therefore, in zoos and nature reserves, cassowaries are approached with growth shields. Only they can withstand the pressure of this monster. It is said that ancient animals survived in Australia due to the isolated position of the continent. Well, after getting acquainted with the feathered terminator, you will understand that the remoteness of Australia, on the contrary, helped everyone else to survive, because this bird could not beat a wolf, a cougar, and even a small leopard. No, we did not set up experiments, we are just soberly analyzing the situation. And now don't tease the cassowary, give him a like. Then there is hope that he will feel sorry for you if you decide to come to Australia for some apparent reason. Birds of prey are formidable fighters not only in the sky. A fox is a predator that is heavier than an eagle and has stronger jaws. But the eagle doesn't even think of taking off. When he noticed the fox's unhealthy interest in this person, he tilted his head and went to sort it out. Of course, the redhead could only retreat. Even with one paw, the eagle could overcome him thanks to his huge claws. Funny scene? It's not very funny to the fox. It's good that he remained intact. This cat did not immediately understand the size of the one that he wanted to attack. The cat was sneaking up to the bald eagle, who was just having lunch with his favorite fish. Just look how the cat changed his mind about attacking when he realized what a huge bird was in front of him. One glance of the eagle was enough to cool the hunting ardor of the predator. How would you voice their dialogue? Write some options in the comments. However, sometimes conceit fails eagles. This predatory giant thought that he would be feared and shunned. No matter how, he just doesn't know who crows are. This brazen bird flew up to the eagle from above and sat on it. This is not an attack, it's just that the crow wanted a ride. Well, it's not difficult for the eagle. The bird of prey was in shock, but the crow, having rolled on it, calmly flew away on its own business. The cries of seagulls over the seashore, the smell of salt water, the feeling of wind on your face, romantic? Yes, but only until you decide to get to know the seagulls a little better. Like with this little thief who stole a GoPro camera. If it seems to you that in her gaze you see the coolness of a gangster, well, don't think. The seagulls are really in constant combat readiness mode. It turns out that they are real scumbags, it's better not to mess with them. And this is at a relatively modest size. It sounds like the laughter of some movie villain, don't you agree? These pigeons mistook the seagull for another beggar bird. Very wrong. In fact, the seagull came to have a snack just with them. With its sharp beak, this creature inflicted such crushing blows that the pigeons had no chance. Agree. Now you will look at the seagull with completely different eyes. The seagull can only use brute force, but also tactics. Here she caught a pigeon and drowned it, so as not to fight for a long time. Cold calculation in the case. The same thing is the case with the sparrow hunting. The seagull is in no hurry and does not waste energy. She flew up to the bird, grabbed the first sparrow she saw, and flew away. It's like going to the bakery for bread. And even a rat is waiting for the same fate, although usually this animal can fight back even a small dog. Moreover, a seagull can attack a larger animal. For a seagull, a domestic cat in size is the same as a mountain lion for a person. But this does not prevent the bird from calmly approaching the cat during his lunch and coolly taking away his food. The cat is shocked by such impudence and does not know how to react. Perhaps this saved him. He never got hit with the powerful beak of the seagull. Why did the seagull attack the dog? It's a mystery. From the point of view of instinct, this makes no sense. The bird will not be able to eat the dog. There is nothing to take away from him. It seemed that the four-legged simply did not like this feathered one, who believes that he owns the entire surrounding area. Therefore, the seagull attacks the dog again and again, like some fighter coming into turns, hits and tries to drive away the stunned dog, which, despite the absence of injuries, even becomes a little sorry. The impudence of the seagull reaches some incredible levels. People on the pier noticed the tuna and decided to lure it closer to the surface with food. Is someone throwing food around? Of course, the seagull could not ignore this and flew as low as possible over the water in order to catch the food. As a result, the tuna accidentally was grabbed. This fish turned out to be so big that it could swallow a seagull whole. But tuna really didn't know who he was messing with. It is unclear whether he was just only in fantastic blockbusters to get into the mouth of an underwater giant, but to fight and get out of there alive. The seagull brings this plot to life. Although we used to think that seagulls live near the seacoasts, these birds also fly quite far from the water. Many were struck by the brutality of the plot in hunting such a seagull. She noticed the rabbit's lair. a cute, fluffy creature, but not for the seagull. For her, a rabbit is a hearty lunch. A seagull catches him near the entrance to the den and puts its beak into action. It's not as sharp as the hawk's, but it's very durable. The seagull is able to lift the rabbit and cause irreversible damage to the spine with sharp, powerful movements from side to side. After that, the seagull eats the victim whole. But a rabbit weighs only 3 times less than a bird. It's as if a person could eat a couple of huge steaks, several burgers with potatoes, several portions of meat, salads, snacks in one sitting, and after that, he still wanted supplements. Monstrous appetite, wouldn't you agree? Moreover, hunting for a rabbit is the norm for this bird. It must be admitted that the seagulls sometimes run into an opponent, with whom it is still better not to mess. Who can resist this feathered one? Of course, only another bird. And we are not talking about hawks, but about ordinary ducks. That's who can show the seagull that she made a mistake with her opponent. A duck fights with the seagull in its element, on the surface of the water. Thanks to a special secret with which she lubricates her feathers, they do not get wet in the water. And ducks can not only swim for as long as they want, but also dive. If an eagle got into the water, its wings would just get wet and it would drown. In a battle with a seagull, the duck uses its advantage 100%. She just drowns the enemy, pushes from above, and constantly attacks with her beak, pinches, and hits. It is not always possible for a seagull to climb back onto a wing after that. Do you like stories about the triumph of justice? For example, where a robber breaks into a house thinking that there are defenseless grandmothers, but meets someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson inside and even armed. The camera lens caught the same story, but from the world of birds. The hawk wanted to ruin someone else's nest. He did not see who lived there, but decided that he was still in no danger as a formidable predator. Therefore, he can fly there to feast on eggs or even eat other people's chicks. In vain. He didn't know who he was messing with. One gets the feeling that he was expected there. As soon as his head appeared in the entrance, 2 large owls immediately pulled him inside. It turned out that this was their home, and the hawk invaded the territory or even larger and stronger birds of prey. The panic in his eyes indicates that he understood his mistake as well. The owls grabbed his paws with their own and literally disarmed him. The hawk could only spread its wings to push them away somehow. No attempts to escape helped. The owls seemed to have chained their enemy. Moreover, they did not even try to peck it or tear it with their claws. It seems that they have taken him hostage and are enjoying the horror of the hawk, who no longer hopes to get out of there alive. Surprisingly, in the end, the hawk is released, and it breaks out of someone else's nest. He will never climb in there again. And what would you do in the place of these owls? Answer in the comments. What do you know about swans? It is quite widely known that they are monogamous and faithful birds that choose one pair for their entire life. Therefore, as well as because of the elegant curve of the neck, powerful wings, and beautiful plumage, they have become a symbol of love. Well, love is cruel, just like swans. It turns out that these birds are real looters who ruin other people's nests. If there is another feathered creature next to them, an unpleasant surprise awaits him. The swan attacks for no reason and provocation, even completely harmless neighbors. With powerful blows of their wings, they are able to stun an opponent, after which they drown him in the water. And if a land animal gets into the water, which is almost helpless there, then this is a real gift for a cruel swan. The dogs did not know who they were messing with and did not immediately realize that their only chance to escape was flight. Away from the water, a swan can also give you some surprises. For example, for no reason just attacking a dog. The swan has no bloodthirsty motives, he's not trying to eat the dog, just beat him up. and the only reason is that the bird just didn't like the dog. In general, the devotion of swans goes beyond all bounds. This family was crossing the roads when the chicks suddenly stopped. That's it, it's their road now. And multi-ton cars will have to wait or go around these impudent birds. Otherwise, the enraged father will attack them too. It seems that the policeman does not protect birds from people, but on the contrary, keeps drivers away from swans to avoid a fight. Just look at how far away from the swans this cop is trying to stay. He knows what's coming for him. The swans are also fighting amongst themselves, and very brutally. This swan attacked the black cousin, perhaps for the sake of the territory, or maybe just a bad mood. And even the retreat of the enemy did not force the aggressor to stop. He chased another swan, pinched it, and then grabbed it by the throat and tried to drown it. Fortunately, the black swan broke free and managed to escape. But he will definitely leave this pond for a long time. And the ducks who watched the battle also clearly don't want to go back there. What kind of birds has your opinion changed of now? Who do you consider harmless, and now, on the contrary, are you afraid of? Answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because we have some amazing things to surprise you with still.